Hello everybody, thank you so much for being back for this new episode on today, your network. We often say that your network ultimately defines your net worth, which means the amount of money you earn is largely in proportion to the people you hang around with and associate with most of the time. Now the question is, who do you hang out with? And why is that actually important to you? See, one thing I've noticed in working with some of the people around the world, people like, for example, Rob Chapman. This person here, when I actually worked with him as my private coach, one thing I noticed is that when I hang around with somebody who is, let's say, accustomed to doing multi-billion dollar deals, these people think differently, they talk differently, they associate in different sort of places where you and I most of the time wouldn't even hang out with. But see what it does for you if you actually do hang out with these people. You walk into rooms that normally the doors are shut for you. You wouldn't see what happens in those very rooms. I remember this one day when I walked into the boardroom of Bank SA, a beautiful round boardroom. It's almost like King Arthur and all the knights back then. That was the sort of thing that I had in my mind. Never walked into a room like that, but you could tell it shows and exemplifies money. It shows and radiates success. It just clearly there's power involved in that room. And I can tell you that the time when I walked in and the time when I walked out, I felt a different man. Now, obviously, this is kind of superficial, you might say. You know how an environment somehow builds people's self-image. But here's what we know. In psychology, in all the years of studies that have been conducted at some of the leading universities and research centers around the world, we know that your self-concept largely determines where you go in life. So if you have a high self-concept that sees you as a wealthy, abundant, somebody who just easily attracts money, somebody who is really successful, if you see that being associated with yourself, meaning that room that you walked into, the boardroom, is a mere reflection of what goes on inside of your mind, and vice versa. Once you have that going, you don't walk into a negotiation or into a sales call or a sales meeting. You don't walk into those the very same person that you were to walk in with a low self-concept. A low self-concept means lower self-esteem. You don't see yourself really doing, the great things in life. You don't see yourself making a lot of money. You don't see yourself, meeting and hanging out with very successful and affluent people. So your self-concept is crucial. But the challenge is that if you are like most people where you just, happen to roll into, rooms and hang out with people that you just, went to school with or, from a sports club or so on, the challenge is that those people won't necessarily be potentially the right ones for you to build a great business, for you to build a great income, and for you to have really a big impact. Because, here's the next thing of my little video here. When you hang out with certain people, they talk about certain things in a certain way. And so, for example, when let's say your biggest deal has been, 5 figures, and these people suddenly talk 7 figures, do you see that there's a gap between where you were and where these people are at? And so, typically, what happens in your psyche, in your mind, you will look for ways to actually become part of them, rather than trying to make them part of you. That sometimes happens too. We try to then play people down and try to bring us to our level of performance. But that's not you. If you really want to thrive in business and in life, you want to somehow, reach for the stars. You want to somehow, hang out with the people that are already further than you are and learn about their thinking. Ingrain yourself into their daily habits, the places they go to, the things they do, the things they talk about, the things they dream about. And particularly also when it talks about fear and challenges, it's about you really becoming part of how they think about it, because the level of thinking largely shows where you will go and how much you will make and what sort of experiences you will have in life. Now, I'll share one other example with you. One day I was invited onto the cruise ship called The World. And The World is a highly luxurious ship where there's only 100 cabins all privately held, mind you. So it's not, you know, the typical P&O cruise ship where you and I just rent something. No, no. This is a ship for the affluent, the super wealthy, where all of them have bought their very, you know, huts and apartments on this ship. This ship, like the name suggests, circumnavigates the world on the demands and specific requests of its owners. And so one day I was invited on this very luxurious ship. This ship is one, let's say, one of the people that lives on there is Gina Reinhardt, the most affluent person in Australia. There's a few Saudi royals on that ship that have their premises there. There's a few multi-billionaires, completely self-made, people that have had 4,000 patents, for example, made a lot of money with it, while also, you know, changing the lives of billions of people around the world. And so having this sort of environment to walk into, it's not your average, everyday sort of house to walk in. It's not your everyday hotel. It is really the ultra-wealthy that gather there and that have certain demands. These people don't cook for themselves. They have people cook for them all the time. They don't clean their own huts and the like. They have people looking after them. For every one owner on the boat, on the ship, and by the way, they're not there all the time at all because it's just one of many homes they have. For every one owner on the ship, there's about 4 people waiting to help them, to look after their bathrobes, their towels, to, you know, provide food to them, a drink and the like. It's like really your upper end 5-star or 6-star accommodation, but pretty much mainstream. Here's now the point that I'm trying to get to with you. This is for you, for most people, this is not normal. This is the holiday sort of experience. But what if this is your everyday experience? What if you are chauffeured around every single day? What if you don't travel in economy class, but all the time in first class? This is a sort of lifestyle that unless you start to integrate it in your own thinking, it won't happen for you because you will always somehow talk about them, the people up, or you talk down at them, but you won't really integrate it on a basic level where it's just somehow normal to you. Normality changes when you are associating with a different type of person. And so my point of today's examples here and the video here that I'm sharing with you is challenge yourself a little bit on the network that you have built up so far and see to what extent it's helping you to grow on the inside first so that you can grow on the outside and do more, have more, be more, experience more, and the likes. All right? This is really the thing. Success in life is not happening by chance. It's not, you know, it's not, let's say, a surprise. It's not, let's say, luck. It's created. And so every self-made man or woman on this planet, they know that everything starts with the way we think, and the best thing you can do for yourself and your loved ones is to build a network that helps you to grow internally and externally. There's a beautiful law that says, the law of correspondence says that what goes on inside will be reflected on the outside world. So as your thinking changes, as your expectations change, as your belief systems change, you will change too. And the outside world will reflect it. The amount of money you earn today is a mere reflection of what went on inside of you. So meaning if you don't have enough money, you probably want to check in again with what goes on inside. If you don't have the experiences that you love to share with your loved ones, guess what? It's a mere reflection of what has gone inside in the past. And if there's a good news here to the story, whatever was in the past doesn't have to be your future. So if you really want to build a great future, starting today, challenge yourself on your network. I also encourage you, as you like this video here, to, you know, take the next step. Talk to somebody like me about how you can become more successful in any field you choose, whether it's health, finances, your career, your relationships, anything else really that is important to you. Let's talk. I've got this complimentary, you know, strategy session that I make available to you as you are on my list. You're part of my network. I want to add value to you. I want to help to the extent that you are serious about you and your future. My name is Bram. Thanks again for joining. I wish you a wonderful day ahead.